Good morning, everybody. Well, I'm gonna make some adjustments here. It's Des with Civilian Education. I'm just getting started on episode 4 of Go Viral. So I'm gonna get myself a little bit better adjusted here. So that you can see really well. I hope that once again you are healthy and staying safe during this really challenging time. So far, so good here. We are home, all 5 of us, quarantined, and we're on spring break this week. So I don't know if any of you have seen, I have my mom account, and yesterday we went Pee-wee golfing. We managed to set up 18 holes in our small house, so that was pretty epic. So I hope that you are finding things to do to laugh and have fun and be well, and enjoy this time of, slowing down and having sort of less on your to-do list and digging up those things that you've always wanted to get done or learn or practice. And today we're going to be learning and practicing hair cutting. So if that's on your list, I'm excited for you to join me in doing that. Once again, as I've said before, all of these videos are on my YouTube account, which is at Lindsay Does Stick, under the Go Viral series. This is episode 4, so if you're not joining us now live, feel free to dig those up. Also, please share them with friends or other hairdressers that you know. This series is really great if you are, good morning, if you are just really starting in the industry or stepping out of school. I know there are a lot of hairdressers that were in the middle of their training programs and that's been halted. So this is a great way for you to be practicing some foundational skills and really understanding the theory of hair cutting. So today we're going to start on our first haircut. I just came up with the name. I'm calling it the triple threat layer. One of the things that I really wanted to do in this series is use something that might be new to you as far as sectioning goes, but continue to use the same sectioning so that you can practice and really start to understand the purpose of this sectioning pattern and also how sectioning really serves a haircut. So the more that you practice it, hopefully drawing that connection. So you'll see this sectioning pattern evolve, but really stay the same. And if you have questions, so I do have my handy dandy Crayola easel here. So I am going to be diagramming roughly. Any of you who've taken a class with me knows, the joke about the studio art degree. I don't draw a clean diagram, so I will try to find a way to get a handout, but please message me questions, or I can take a picture, draw out the diagram and take a picture and post that if that helps. So please, please, please let me know. Today's sectioning is going to be very simple. Like I said, we're going to evolve that. Back to my original point, the reason this is called the triple threat layer is because there's a lot of ways that you can take this same section and evolve it. And you'll see us do that. We're going to do one version for extremely long hair, but you could do several different versions even just in that scenario alone. So the design objective today for our triple threat layer is going to be long, commercial, for the guest who wants to see really invisible layers, someone who has very long hair, doesn't want a lot of movement, but still really wants to see something in their crown, a little bit of looseness and softness there, and maybe wants to start to see something that looks like a long or overgrown bang, something sweeping, or a little bit of light layering, but is really, really intimidated by that. So again, this can be kind of phase 1 and you can evolve them into something stronger, or this can be really where they stay. It's a great way to quickly put in a very seamless and beautiful layer. I use this haircut all the time in the salon, all the time. It's very trusted for me. And then tomorrow, you'll see tomorrow's version gets a little bit more evolved as well. So again, I cannot say enough. Let me know if you have questions. So yesterday, we're gonna talk We're gonna kind of connect on what we talked about yesterday, which was about the comb and how important the comb is, and then sectioning and how important sectioning is, okay? We're going to use some really high elevation today, and really two techniques, which we're just gonna be at the extreme end. So we're gonna be doing some layering, and we're gonna do a very simple one length. As I said, this is considered a long layered haircut, and so on the Josephine mannequin, there's not a lot of hair in the perimeter, so I can't really demonstrate that one length technique. I may put up a video. I don't have that in this series. I may put up a video after this. As many of you who are in Wisconsin know, our stay safe and stay home mandate just got extended till April 24th, so I definitely have time to be making more video content, which I'm really excited about. Hopefully you are too. Okay, so we're gonna be kind of buzzing through a one length at the very end of this, just to demonstrate one aspect of a long layer, which is to not be doing your one length first. And just to review again, I want to talk about the design objective again. So this is our beautiful guest, and she really wants to see some movement in her hair. It's spring, her hair is feeling a little bit dehydrated, but she is intimidated by layering. She loves her long hair. She's had some bad experiences with layering. She doesn't like how sometimes they look shelfy or disconnected. She doesn't want a mark in the front of her hair, but she is interested, and you're interested in taking some internal length off to give her just a little bit more action to her haircut, and maybe remove some dead weight or some things that are not useful in the haircut. So we've just combed through this, and she is wet, so we're gonna start with wet hair. And we're gonna be putting in our section very shortly, a very simple basic section. Then we're going to be talking about elevation, and we are also going to be talking a great deal about tension, which is a really important part of layering, and also an important part of a one length from the opposite perspective. And last but not least, we are going to be, I think that's it. We're going to be talking about sectioning, elevation, technique, and your tension. I think that's it. All right. Okay. All right. So yesterday we reviewed how to put in a basic quadrant. I told you that I really like to do that to help give me some awareness of the head shape. So I'm going to do that to start. So we're going to start from the nose. I'm going to make sure that I am right behind. Okay. And using my fingertip as my guide. So my mirror is going to be my camera, which is a little bit hard for me to see. So you'll have to be both forgiving and patient. Okay, so there we go. So I've got my front section in, and we're gonna go through the back here. Okay, so I'm standing off to the side. I know you can't see that, but I've got my pointer finger down here, placing my comb in right up against that scalp and separating. Okay, and I had said this in video 1, but I'll say it again. It's probably best for you right now to just be watching. If you're trying to follow along, I don't think that that's gonna work. It's probably gonna move too quickly. So again, just take notes. And then when we are done, you can reference the video on YouTube if you have questions. When I'm practicing video haircuts, what I like to do is watch them through once and then pull up the video on my computer or my phone and just set it there and actually try and move through the work without using the video. And then when I have questions, kind of scroll to the area in the video that I have a question. That is what works best for me. Everyone's gonna learn differently. Okay, now I'm stood to the side, so this is the side of the head. You can see her face. I'm gonna come right behind the ear. So In this version of this haircut that we're going to do today, this section isn't that important. It's just going to help orient us to making the pattern that we're using, but it will matter tomorrow. So what you want to do is kind of discern what you want to be the front of the haircut and what you want to be the back. So the easiest way to do that is for you to kind of look at the growth pattern where it naturally separates. So on this mannequin, about right here, it's kind of pushing forward. So I'm going to go from about the apex down. But this may change, it will change based on the bone structure. And you may want to change it because you may want to contour the haircut so that you are adjusting for the growth pattern, okay? So I'm going to just let this work in its natural element. So like this, and I can see this piece of hair is fighting me. So I'm gonna make an adjustment there. All right. Oh, I can see I am out of view. I am so sorry. Patience. Okay, gotta reach across here. So we're just gonna section that out so that it stays really nice and clean. Sorry, I'm in front of the camera. Here we go. There. All right, got it. This helps be able to see. We're going to scoot that over. Okay. Other side. Oops, that was too much. Okay. There. All right. So I am at the ear, and know that on every head, the section may drop down to a different point from side to side, because we know that heads are not symmetrical. And so again, when you're working with the natural fall, if you're not trying to compensate or contour,
Hey, Mom!
Hi.
I wanted to do it.
Okay, well, when we're done here, you absolutely can. It'll be your turn, okay?
Oh, but that's yours is right there with the, but mine is right here. But that's mine.
Yes, so we have a visitor, everyone. This is Beatrice. Can you say hi? Okay, when I am all done doing this haircut, it can be your turn, okay?
Oh, I can try to do a brush, and I can try to cut the hair down to the floor, and that'll be my job.
That will be your job when I'm all done with this. Not now. Okay? You gonna go finish your show?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I don't like a big airplane and little Einsteins.
You don't like Big Jet? Okay, so we have a visitor. This is life in my house right now, 100%. We have, again, as I said, 4 of us here right now. My husband's still going to work, but it is always trying to do a lot of different things at one time.
We can do teamwork with if you want.
We can do teamwork afterwards, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so now that we've got this sectioned into quadrants, I'm going to show you this. There we go. You see that? See that? And see that? We're going to move on to the basic sectioning, okay? I'm going to step away for just 1 minute. Here we go. Come on, in here. Let's go.
You want to watch the movie with me?
Not right now, baby. Thank you. Okay, and so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a triangular section through the back. We had talked about making sure that we get that nice kind of zhuzhy texture back here. So we're gonna be wide at the top. Let me see if you can see this, and narrow at the bottom. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw this out to start. So this is gonna be the back of the head. Oops, can't write words. Just remembered again. This is gonna be the back of the head. So we'll put in. So it's just one simple triangle. Now, what I will tell you is that, especially because this is down to a point at the bottom, feel free to get pretty close to the mastoid bone, or to the occipital bone. If you leave this up too high, it's really not going to be impactful. And especially when you're working on the mannequin, those are really great. The hair structure of the Josephine is a really great example of that, because you'll find that there's not enough hair. So if you're not really cutting hair, then your section is probably not big enough. You can get, you can get pretty, I guess, adventurous, or be pretty brave with your guideline here, okay? So we're gonna take a nice size triangle. See if I can set this so you can see it. I'm gonna come right down to the mastoid bone, and I am gonna go right where the parietal ridge kind of starts to round away. So I'm not gonna put the comb completely flat, because again, I want this to be a mild layer. I'm gonna press it up at the top of where the parietal bridge starts to kind of round away at the mastoid bone, where the comb is a little bit more on the angle. So can you see? I'll stand behind so then you can see, because my shirt is black. Okay, so here is the bottom of my parietal ridge. I'm gonna roll up just a little bit to where the comb is at more of an angle. Okay, so I'm gonna work from here down to about the top of the occipital bone. So right where that comb comes off the head if I turn it this way. See that? Okay. And this should encapsulate any major colics that a person has in the back. Especially if they have two, you should be able to see all of that in your triangle, which is great. Other side. All right. Again, this may not be perfectly symmetrical from side to side, and if we're working with the natural contour, that is okay. All right, so we're gonna section that up and away quickly. And now here's the big key to this haircut. And then the rest of this for this version can just drop out, okay? The most important piece to this is bringing a triangle through the front. So again, let me draw. So here's the nose, eyes, and I'm gonna bring a triangle that starts wide, again at the parietal ridge, through the front hairline. So when I look from the side here, you see the side. If here is the ear, and I've got one triangle going towards the back, this triangle is gonna work towards the front, towards the hairline, okay? So here's the neck. All right, really spectacular drawing. We'll come a little bit closer so you can see that, okay? So I am going right from where my triangle ended through the back, right through the front hairline. And it's gonna come to a close at the front hairline for this really very commercial version, like that, okay? These triangles do not always have to match up. One can be smaller or bigger than the other. Like I said, when you're working with the natural contour on certain hair types and bone structures, it may not be symmetrical from side to side. We're not going to talk about working with a part yet, but that could definitely impact where the triangle sits. So I encourage you to play around with this, especially on your mannequin head when you're at home, so you can really try and gain a broader understanding. Again, we are going to be using this same basic format for sectioning as we move through the rest of the haircut. So you will see as you get shorter and shorter with your guidelines how it impacts the haircut. Okay. So coming right up through the hairline. And there we go. That's that. All right. So this goes in really quickly. So hang with me. All right. I'm going to stand to the side so that you can see what I'm going to do. Actually, let me first diagram. So we are just going to come through with vertical sections. And there may not even be that many. Same through the front, okay? We are going to create a very flat shape, so that's going to be very square. We're going to use a little bit of over direction to get this, okay? Same through the top here. I'm going to draw some really short lines. Of course, this shape can always change. But again, to make sure that we're giving enough movement but have it be too overwhelming, that's what we're going to do. So as we look from the profile, you're going to be coming straight up. And straight across, just like that. So pretty simple. So you are going to use a little bit of over direction to achieve that, okay? All right, so here is my mannequin head. Now, whenever I am working a layer, not whenever, but most of the time when I'm working a layer, I like to work with my fingertips in. So this is the part where we talk about tension. A lot of times when I'm teaching hair cutting, one of the biggest challenges that I see is losing tension when we're layering. So when we talk about elevation, tension is a big part of that conversation. And when we're working in our lower elevations, when we want to reinforce the technique, so we want to really see that heavy, classic, strong line. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please reference the video from yesterday and the day before. So episode 2 and episode 3. We want to start to soften the tension. So whether we work in wider teeth, we work without the use of our fingers and just work under the comb. When we're working horizontally to help reinforce that concept of creating very, very strong weight lines, we release the tension, we soften our tension. The opposite is true as we start to move into more vertical cutting and we want to see softer lines, we want to see more movement from the hair, if there is movement in the hair, we increase the tension. So the line looks harder when we're cutting with tension, but when we drop the haircut, or when we drop the hair out of the elevation, it will actually soften because we know wet hair shrinks up. So this is only true for wet hair, but when we cut with lots and lots of tension, that hair, when it dries, starts to shrink up and separate and enhances the effect of the layer, okay? So, move my camera just a little bit. There we go. I think that light is a little bit better this morning. When I shoot at different times, I get different light. Okay, so I think you need to back off a little. I need to be here. Okay, that should be good, right? Okay, so I'm gonna stand off to the side and let me stand where you can see. And I'm going to take in this vertical subsection like this, okay? And I'm going to hold straight up, fingertips in, really making sure that my palm is flat, taking off a considerable amount of hair, okay? So I'm looking, I can see if I had a mirror, I would be looking to make sure that I'm not too far this way or too far that way. I can do this too so you can see. Okay, lots of great tension and cut. And now you can see my over direction. So this first section, I'm in my wide teeth. See that? Now I flip my comb. So I'm in my wide teeth to section, windmill my comb, straight up. I'm gonna use just a little bit of over direction. Do you see that? Cutting fingertips in. Taking the last part of that triangle, making sure I've got it separated from the rest. So turn so you can see this way. See? And now a little bit more over direction. I can absolutely see my guide. I know that you can't see that, but I am not cutting if I cannot see my guide. There it is, really flat cross check. See that? So that's my shape, square, flat, does not mimic the round of the head and does not also go from long to short as far as I can see in my cross check in any direction. Okay. So the other side, now moving away from my body. So just a smidge of over direction there, if you see that. Really, pretty much none. I'm just gonna grab and cross check to make sure that my over direction is accurate. So we talk about, you know, a traveling guide or a stationary guide. Over direction is a very, very fluid concept. Sometimes you can be over directing all the way to the previous, but sometimes you're over directing even less than that. So you want to just pay attention to the shape here. You want to be able to see your guide and you want to be able to pull in and think about that external shape that you're creating. So I'm really trying to create a flat line here. So I want to think about that as much as I want to take a peek at how far I am coming back, okay? Cutting to your guide is sometimes a little more like aiming. Okay, and this last section, because the bone structure is going to be rounding away, is going to have just a little bit more over direction. I don't know if you can see that from the back, so I'm going to turn her around. Can you see how it has more? So it's kind of reaching, right? Reaching back up into the guide here. There we go. Now, one final cross check on the other side. There we go. Can you see? Pretty flat. All right. Okay, so that is that. I'm gonna comb all of that down and into my length and let that drop, okay? Now we're gonna do the same thing through the top. We're probably gonna have one more section on each side. But it's really just mirroring what we just did. So you're gonna take that guide from the center that you just cut here. You're gonna drop that into your new hair like that. See, I just grabbed it. And I'm gonna come straight through. This should really line up to that center peak. Now, if you're new to cutting, you can see this is getting a little bit messy. I don't cut with very many clips anymore, but if you're having a hard time staying organized, first of all, make sure that things are wet. There's a clog in my spray bottle. Okay, there we go. And throw some clips right here. It'll also keep the guest more comfortable so they don't have hair in their face while you're working, or as much hair in their face while you're working, okay? So just go ahead, throw some clips in there. That'll help keep you organized. You can see I've got my pointer finger in here, just following my comb through. Got a little bit. All right. One of the things that I think is really nice about being in quarantine and practicing haircuts at home, I know when I'm teaching a lot of people, they really struggle being watched. So you can really move slow and understand that things don't always move as seamlessly as we envision them in their minds. You can go back and resection things a couple of times. The more that you sort of allow yourself to be clumsy in haircutting, the more it will become beautiful. if we put pressure on ourselves and we have a lot of tension while we're cutting hair, it will come across in the work. So while you're at home, video yourself. I have not said that yet. Please video yourself and watch your videos. It's not fun. It's not necessarily easy to do, but it is incredibly helpful. And just allow yourself to kind of be clumsy and resection and take your time to find your space in the haircut. Haircutting is a very energetic and emotional thing. And so being able to breathe, feel calm, and feel confident while we're doing it is incredibly important. Okay, so I'm just connecting to what was in the back there. See it? And we're just cutting with really flat hands and no over direction. So this is gonna feel pretty scary as we get up through the front. All right, and let's move across closer to you. So I'm going to take my section from here, and this is where you really want to make sure that you're not getting into your section below. All right, let me show you my over direction. Very flat, my arm is in the way. Okay. Now this part right here, you can see the head is starting to round. Can you see this? Starting to round. I'm gonna take this, I'm actually not gonna add in an additional section. For ease, I'm gonna comb away and comb back into my guide, and we're gonna bring this all up. So you can see this is all over directed. It's getting more as the triangle gets wider, and that is great. Okay. Really flat, really good. See? Okay, so let's move through the other side. I do not tilt my mannequin head. For me, tilting my mannequin head makes it harder for me to maintain my over direction. I really just have to watch my hands, kind of step across and use my mirror. That's just what works best for me. So I leave my mannequin in the natural and upright position as I'm working through the top when I'm working horizontally like this, because it just works best for me to have that consistency. This is a little too big of a section. And there we go. Split it. So I'm going to comb back towards me and up so that I can get the right over direction. So we're using kind of a horizontal subsection with very high elevation. And the last thing not the last thing, but the most important thing that I want you to notice when I'm doing this is as I'm taking my sections and cutting them, I am not dropping or softening my tension. So this is the big lesson that I want you to learn in layering. I am not then cutting and dropping. I've lost all my tension now, so the effect of what I'm trying to do with my layering is going to be lost. So I'm gonna comb in, come back towards me, comb in to get my over direction, and I'm gonna maintain that really tight, firm tension the whole time that I'm cutting. I'm pushing the hair away from me. I'm actually dropping my comb in right at my subsection. Got a little snarl there. And this is that last section. Take your time, come back, I'm gonna come to me and then back towards my guide, and you can see There, see that over direction? See it? Lots of tension, really maintaining the effect of my layer and that soft finish on the hair. Notice I'm not cutting on the points of my shears or anything like that to really help blend the layer. I'm just using my elevation and my tension to do that. Okay, so I'm going to take these clips out, and I am going to go ahead and cross-check this other section for you and for me. And there we go. All right, got a little long hair there. Really flat. Okay, so you can see all of that. So this, I'm gonna show this on the center because I think, you know, a lot of women I know here are still wearing their hair sectioned or parted down the center. And what's really great about this template is that you can really move it in either direction. So let's put in that center part and you can really start to see. Hi. All right. So I'm gonna back my camera off, back up on my diagram. So you can see how this is starting to look. There's just a little bit of light movement around the face. All right, so we're gonna finish by putting in that one length and that perimeter. So here's kind of that light zhuzhy texture, which you absolutely cannot see in this light. But trust me, it's there and it looks really great. So the last thing that we want to do is we want to go in and we want to finish the perimeter or the outline of the haircut. And for me, there's really no hair here to cut. So this is pretty common where I have a guest who wants to hang on to hair that's not really serving her. Okay, so we're gonna go through, we're gonna add a little bit of moisture here. Especially through this front. And this is a conditioning spray. This is the tonic from Colton King, which I love. It is absolutely one of my favorite products on the market. It's amazing for your scalp and skin. Just love it. Check it out. I can put a link on my page. Okay, so just a little bit of moisture here. And then we can't really practice the one length technique here. I'm gonna take this kind of all in one section because there's so little hair. I'm gonna isolate behind the ear. Behind the ear here. So let's pretend like there's a shoulder here. We would be that would be kind of sitting on her back, okay? So we're just gonna take the wide teeth of our comb and drop down. And then when we cut in a one length technique, it's really important to kind of rotate the shears so that we can see the label on our shears. So dropping that down and keeping our comb perpendicular to the hair, okay? Notice how flat my comb is. We're in that horizontal plane, so we're creating or establishing a weight line here, and you can't really see that. You can't see my body position either, but notice that I'm not leaning here. So if you could see me, you would see, you can't see my lower body, but that I'm lunging at the knees. And her hair is starting to naturally dry. In a true one length technique, the hair would be wet and all of that. But in this technique, it's okay. I'm just looking visually. She's probably gonna wear her hair in this natural texture. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that's how I'm gonna dry it and post the picture of it in a natural dry. So that's really gonna be the line that we're gonna see. If we go in and we try and build this really beautiful one length, it's gonna take a lot of time. We're probably gonna end up taking her hair shorter than she wants, and we're never really gonna see it anyway, okay? If someone's gonna flat iron their hair every day and really press it and really wants to see the severity in that line, then it's worth the time. Okay, so here we're just gonna gently apply a little bit of pressure with my comb and work through taking that length off in front of the shoulder. Just going through any, so not really overthinking. You can see there's not really a ton of movement or texture in through around her face. So we're not really seeing those short pieces. We can go in and add more customized pieces if we want. Okay, again, comb, very, very light tension, just kind of grabbing and controlling the hair, allowing the hair to be in its natural texture just a little bit. And then there's some loose pieces I can see. So coming through, looking, I can see that I'm longer on this side. I am not gonna put tension on this because I didn't cut it with tension to do my cross check. Just gonna turn back, look at my line, and I can see exactly where I start to get a little bit longer. All right, one more time for you from the front. All right, I think that is really good. Okay, so that is our triple threat layer. Obviously, we want to do some finishing work to this. I am gonna dry it or let it have a natural dry, so I will post a picture of it in the end. If you cut this haircut, please post pictures for me to see. Message me if you have questions. If you want to watch the video again, go to the link in my bio and you can check it out on YouTube. Thank you so much for your time today. I hope that you are safe and I will see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.